you want to just correct it during the discussion.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to this Budget and Finance Committee meeting for December 12th, 2016. I'm Paul Krikorian, joined by my colleagues, Councilmember Englander and Councilmember Bonin. We have a quorum, and we're ready to begin. Mr. Williams, do we have any general public comment cards?
No, sir, there are no cards.
General public comment is closed. Do we have any comment cards on any of the agenda items?
No, sir, we do not.
All right. Comment on those items is closed as well. Members, I would propose items 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 for consent approval, unless you have questions or concerns about any of those. Seeing none, the recommendations on items 10, 11, 12 are approved. Item 13 and 14 and 15 are noted and filed. And then that brings us to item number... Matt, should we hold off on item number 9 until after closed session? Okay. All right. So we'll hold off on that, and then we'll proceed directly into closed session. Okay. So does the city attorney have any preference on priority? Or... Thank you. Good afternoon. Item number 9.
Item number 9 is the City Administrative Officer report and resolution relative to reimbursement of certain judgment or settlement obligations.
Good afternoon, Councilman. Natalie Brill from the CAO's office. I just gave the city clerk an amended resolution. On section 2 of that resolution, I'd like to increase the amount from $11 million to $23 million based on the issues discussed previously in closed session. So we'd like to amend the resolution for that. As we previously discussed when we're talking about the second FSR, we believe in giving you as many options as you have when dealing with deficits and with unusual circumstances. So we are presenting you with a reimbursement resolution that will allow you to reimburse the reserve fund of the general fund when you make payments on certain cases as part of settlements. I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Questions, members?
This will be folded in with other judgments as well, or just this one?
Yes, you have already previously approved the independent living case be reimbursed if you decide to do a judgment obligation bond for $21.5 million. That was the reimbursement resolution that was done a few months ago for up to $25 million, but the case itself was $21.5, I believe.
Right. So the judgment obligation would be the $44.5 million, or?
A little bit more than that with cost of issuance and the litigation expenses, because you have to go to court to get the, once the council makes a decision to move forward with these cases, you go to court and get a validation to prove that it was an obligation imposed by law. That's what state law requires you to do. You go to court, you go through a process where this is publicized and people can come and object under state law. And then once the court comes back and says, yes, these are obligations imposed by law, you can issue a bond, and that wouldn't happen until very late in the year if you decide to do it.
Does this impact our credit rating at all?
We've discussed that in the past. Right now, we have two ratios that we track on voter-approved and non-voter-approved debt. Our limit on non-voter approved debt, which would be a judgment obligation bond, is at 4.12%. So we're weighing the ability to have capacity to issue against having a reserve fund that's below 5%. And
where does this take us in the?
It would take us to around 4.15. It doesn't.
And the number we need to get to, you're saying, was what?
Well, the limit is 6%.
For
non-voter approved. This is a non-voter approved debt.
And it takes us from where to where? From
4.12%, depending to about probably 4.15, 5.1, 4.16, around there, depending.
It's a very big jump.
It's a little bit of a jump. It depends on how big it is, what the market looks like, what the debt service is. We know that interest rates will probably go up in December. It's already been factored in. We just issued a taxable deal, 15 years, 2.96% for a 15-year refunding bond taxable. So, the market has been a little unstable, but we did well on that. So we're confident that we would do well on a 10-year bond.
10-year fix.
Oh, yeah, it'd be a 10-year fixed. State law pretty much requires that.
Okay. And just to clarify, Natalie, what's before us today is a resolution authoring us to issue up to this amount of bonds.
Correct.
So the action today should have no effect on our creditworthiness.
This has no effect on our credit rating.
And your responses to Mr. Blumenfield's questions were assuming if the council
correct.
decided to issue the maximum
sorry.
amount authorized.
Correct. I'm sorry. Yeah, that was.
Council could choose to issue 20 million or
Correct.
5 million or any other number up to that.
Correct.
Right? Okay. So, but the action today.
Yeah,
won't
there is
have that
no
effect
debt
until
impact.
further
There's no
action.
financial impact or fiscal impact on today's action. This is just gives you an option if you decide in the future to do a reimbursement to the reserve fund, you'd be able to do one of up to $23 million. As we have explained in the second FSR, this is just an option. It's an option you have to take. There's other options you could take. This is just one, but if you don't do it right now, you will not be able to do it in the future. And that's what we're concerned about, that later you would come to us and say, why didn't you suggest this?
So as we've discussed, I think, when we last brought this up,
Correct.
at some point before council should decide to issue these bonds, the CAO will have a comparative report that
Yes.
indicates the budgetary and creditworthiness impact of the two different options and any other options that might be before us, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You'll have at least 2 other reports dealing with this issue.
So we may decide that dipping into the reserve fund has less of an impact than issuing a JO bond or vice
Correct.
versa. Okay. Okay. Anything else, members, on this? Because of the significance of the amendment that's now before us, without objection, I'd like to reopen public comment and see if there's anyone else here who would like to offer comment on this item. And Mr. Williams, there's no cards.
No cards.
And
Mr.
there's,
Schindler at the speed dial.
is there anyone currently present who would like to fill out a card? I don't see anyone raising their hand, so we'll go ahead and close public comment on that item now as it's been amended. So any other comments or Mr. Englander, are you going to be? You'll be a no. So we'll go. The committee will go ahead and approve the recommendation by 2-1 vote with Mr. Englander as a no.
Okay, this will be a communication from the chair and member then.
No, we have
We have a majority of a quorum.
I'm sorry, is Mr. Englander voting no on this item?
Yes, but we have a quorum, and the quorum is voting by majority to recommend approval.
Looking at the city.
Okay.
as long as there's a quorum. we're
You
good.
know what? You're going to write the report, so however you see fit, but
I'll double check
We'll have
whether
to
this
check
is
what
a
the rules
committee
are.
report or a communication.
okay.
Okay.
Either way, we'll be
Well,
moving.
if it's communication, we have to hear public comment again.
Right, no, that's correct. It is a quorum, we have a quorum.
Yeah, but doesn't, well,
You were right.
But we don't have a
Okay,
quorum
but
vote.
we're not sure. We'll check.
Okay.
We'll check, and it'll be what.
And this item is in council tomorrow.
Okay. Very good.
committee is 5.
Okay. Is there any further discussion on this item? Is there any other action before the committee? Seeing none, we are adjourned.
Always.